Guys, you have heard me talk about them before, and I'm going to keep talking about them again. Project Build Your Life Daily. It is our newest show sponsor, and their products are phenomenal. I am currently taking the Test Booster, the Fat Burner, as well as their pre-workout. And guys, I'm telling you, it is all natural, it is all clean, and it works. I get clean, clear, sustained energy in my workout without the crash at the end. It tapers off very nicely. I typically work out in the evening, so I'm taking the pre-workout at 6 o'clock, and come 8:30, 9 o'clock, I have no issues sleeping. These products are fantastic, the ingredients are clean, and the company's mission could not be more in line with our show. Project Build Your Life Daily. Like the Godfather and I always say, you're either one day in or one day out. Get yourself in with Project Build Your Life Daily. They are offering listeners of our show 25% off. That's huge. That's 25% off your total order with the code THETRUTH at checkout. So go in, buy some protein, buy some Test Booster, whatever it is that you need to help get you to the next phase of your health and well-being. Throw it in the shopping cart, go to checkout, use the code THETRUTH. 25% off your total order. Anything that they sell, supplements, protein, workout gear, t-shirts, whatever it is, 25% off, guys. You cannot beat that. And I'll tell you what, just a little thing from me to you, that Test Booster, all natural, but boy, oh boy, is there a little extra lead in my pencil. I'm telling you what, guys, Project Build Your Life Daily. Check out their website. Check out their page on Instagram. It's Project BYLD. Again, use the code THETRUTH at checkout. Save yourself 25% off. Who's better than that? Boom.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The truth is inside of us, and it's wonderful when we have the courage to tell it.
And the truth shall set you free!
Welcome to 8192 The Truth with Brother Sand and the Godfather. Subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can also follow the show on Twitter at 8192 The Truth and on Facebook at facebook.com/8192 The Truth. Now, here's your host, the Godfather, Joel D. Supernom.
So I was pretty ill last week, actually, and I came in, and our guest was supposed to be Anthony Smith, and Anthony, he was a no-show. He was a no-show, no-call, and I knew, or I felt there had to be something more to the story. This is a guy that I've known for several years, and he's just a real guy. He's just a real guy. Years ago, he was an up-and-comer. He was in and out of the UFC, and now he caught fire. But throughout that whole time, we've been communicating via text. I've been very complimentary of him. He's always been a fan of both Chael Show and when I started this show. So I knew there was something. I kind of felt there was something, a little bit more to the story. Okay, so if there was 100%, if there was 100%, did he shine me or did he not shine me? You know, I thought there was probably maybe a 30% chance that he shined me, that he went ahead and got too cool for school. It would have been weird. But, man, I've been around this sport for almost 20 years. It's changed. It's a different. There was no podcast 20 years ago. There was, Randy Couture. He invented the text. I don't know if I've ever spoke on that, but it's a different world we live in. Then the show's called 8192 The Truth. The Truth sounds cool. 8192 is just, it's a different time. So I thought, I'm going to reach out to him. Hey, did you forget about me? And then I was going to leave him alone. He's getting ready to fight. It's not that big of a deal to me. But then a couple days later, I seen that he posted I saw that he posted a text from Costa Rica. He just got back from Costa Rica or something to do with Costa Rica. And I was like, well, bingo, there you go. He's in Costa Rica getting his vacation on, and good for him. And sure enough, 2 days later, he texts me back and says, hey, man, I'm sorry. I was in Costa Rica. I forgot all about it. I'll come on anytime you want, da-da-da-da-da. So we're going to have him on in a little bit, and I'm going to give him Kyle, who's our new executive producer. That's a cool name. Kyle is going to give him a great introduction, and so am I. It's a wrestling introduction from one of my favorite old school wrestlers from when I was young, a guy named Ernie Ladd. Ladd's name's Ladd. I never even have talked to Ladd about Ernie Ladd. Anyway, Ernie Ladd was a 6'10" former professional football player, a Hall of Famer in the AFL, and also a Hall of Famer in the WWE. And Ernie Ladd was a villain. I do not believe, from my knowledge, that he was ever a face. He was a villain for 20 years. He was one of the biggest draws there was, and boy, was he good. He was great. One of the things he would say, I'm going to open up with Anthony Smith here in a little bit. Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds passed away. And depending on how old you are, you either remember him for Deliverance and Smokey and the Bandit, or you remember him for Boogie Nights. If you remember him for Boogie Nights, you can only be grandfathered into 8192. 8192 it was just a different time. And a little bit previous to that, the early 70s, the late 70s, that all boils into, it was just a different time all the way around. We could sit and talk for hours about how different it was. The kid's Lad is a sophomore in high school. When I was a sophomore in high school, we were already boozing. We were boozing. We were going to keggers. We were partying after the football game. We were partying during the week. It was a different time. I'm not sure if the kids had the car seats yet. I don't know the history of the car seats. It was just a different time. And Burt Reynolds was a part of that. He's a part of the Deliverance, Smokey and the Bandit, all the different movies that he did. You don't realize how big of a part these entertainers are until they're gone. Burt, to me, it was very sad that he passed away. To me, he felt like I never met the guy. He felt like a cool uncle that you only see once in a while, and remembers your name, has $5 for you, and makes you laugh, tells a story about you. That's how Burt Reynolds felt to me. It was a different time. It was just a different time. And I wanted to speak on it. I want to speak today on Colin Kaepernick, Nike, and who gives a folk at this point. You guys know how I feel. I recorded a 30-minute podcast the other day, and I forgot to send it to Kyle. So we'll put it in the lost episodes. And one of the things I talked about is I thought that Nike was going to lose about 10% of their share by having Colin Kaepernick be the face of this Just Do It movement. I was wrong. They've lost like 2 points, 1.5. They were at $82 when I checked it out, when I found out, and through this weekend, and then they're at 8. They were at 80.5 this morning. So very little movement. Nike Portland has headquarters out here. Nike headquarters are out here, and they had a big parade a couple days ago, and there was a protest. And do you know how many people were in that protest? One person was protesting. So I think if we just peel back the layers of the onion here, we just need to move on with it. There's two sides of this coin. One side is, do any of us believe that minorities should be profiled and beaten and abused by cops? Well, I hope 100% of us say no. I believe that would be pretty close. I personally do not believe any of those things should happen. Police brutality is bad. I don't think it should happen. Do any of us believe that professional football players should be disrespectful to the flag or to the veterans? I think the answer there is going to be real close to the same. 100% are going to say no. No. And that's where these sides are. So when this started, I was so mad. I remember coming on the podcast and yelling and screaming, and I was just so upset. I still believe it's a bad idea. I believe you cannot win with this. You cannot kneel and not have it appear to be disrespectful to the flag. But it's time to move on. So Nike decides to make Colin Kaepernick the face of the new Just Do It campaign. Recycling a campaign from 30 years ago. And boy, has it caught steam. We don't care. I keep saying this. And if we're honest with ourselves, we don't care. We want to care. We want to go on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and blast these guys about how disrespectful they are to the flag. Okay. How disrespectful are we to the veterans by not trying to help them out? Portland is inundated with homeless. And I guarantee a huge population of that is veterans. So we want to get on Facebook and blast Facebook and pound our chest and say all these things about how bad this is, but none of us are going to go down to the homeless people and say, hey, who are vets? Can you prove it? I want to help you out. We don't care. We've got too much going on in our life. We don't care. We are an overstimulated population. The news cycle turns fast and we're on to the next topic. We don't care. We like to talk about it. We like to pound our chest. We like to be rich. We like to be famous. We like to pick and throw rocks and stones at everybody. But we don't care. It's just true. We don't care. What is our belief system? Well, my belief system is you should not disrespect veterans, and you shouldn't disrespect the flag. You shouldn't do that. My belief system also says police brutality is bad. Cops should not profile and beat minorities. They shouldn't do it. Nope. Okay, so both sides are right. Is Nike glorifying Colin Kaepernick by making him the face of this campaign? And if you're all upset with this, if you're pounding your chest like I was a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, have you watched the commercial? Because the commercial is fantastic. The commercial is very, very uplifting. There's 13 or 14 different motivational spots in there for you. So let's say there's 10. There's 10 really good spots in there, and then there's Colin Kaepernick. So if you don't like Colin Kaepernick and you like the other 9 things, don't you still enjoy the content of that? We have lost sight in having different opinions. We've just lost it. We've got to be so right. Nobody can be wrong. Do you feel me? Everybody has to be right. Go on Facebook and say who you are and what you do. Go on the Instagram and the Twitter, the Snapchat, whatever else is out there. Let people know how smart you are and and why you're so right. I've been saying the same thing for over a year or 2 years now. How can people I respect as smart, intelligent people be so right or so wrong? How can my brother Dominic, who is rich and successful, great family man, how can he be so wrong about Donald Trump? He doesn't like Donald Trump. Okay. So Dominic, as smart as he, Harvard graduate, very super high level successful corporate lawyer on the Harvard Law Review. Very successful. Hates Trump. Doesn't agree with Trump. He can debate you in a number of ways on numerous subjects. A lot smarter than me. Lot more well-read. Can't stand Trump. How can he be 100% wrong? How can Kevin Sanier, my partner, successful, good family man, good athlete, how can he be so right? How can he be 100% right on Trump? Trump can't do anything wrong. Do you see where I'm going with this? If you bring these two people together and they talk about different subjects other than this one, other than Trump, there's probably going to be some give and take. And it's called That's My Opinion. That is my opinion. We deserve opinions, but we also deserve the ability to debate those opinions. We have lost track. We have lost track of the ability to communicate with one another and have a different opinion, and then maybe bounce it back and forth and come to an agreement. I'll give you a perfect example. My partner, Kevin Sanier. We agree on almost everything in terms of sports and physiology and how you raise your kids and what kind of friends you need to be. But we have a hard time communicating. We do not speak. We only speak via text, maybe an email. So there's all sorts of things lost in translation. He is a very, very busy person. I come on last week frustrated. I was very frustrated that, man, I can't get my partner on the line. It's frustrating to me. We do not communicate other than via text. So we can't communicate an opinion. We can't communicate different points of view. It's impossible. All we can do is rely on what we see via text. We have lost the ability to communicate with each other. Do you feel me? All right. Going down that line, I hope to have Anthony Smith on next. I hope to have Amanda Bobby Cooper on after that. But I do believe, I am very, very positive that me and Kevin will be able to bounce the ball around. We will have my partner, Kevin Sanier, on. And we will talk about these things. We will talk about the ability to communicate points and how it's been lost. Ladies and gentlemen, he's 6'5". He's 235 pounds. And he covers the ground he walks on. My man, Anthony Smith. What's up, brother?
Oh, just hanging out. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I'm great. Hey, so are you a wrestling fan? A MMA or not a MMA, but a old school wrestling fan?
Yeah.
All right. So that line I just gave, it was an Ernie Ladd line. Now Ernie's quite a bit older than me, and that makes him quite a bit older than you. But he would introduce himself as I'm 6'10", I'm 325 pounds, and I cover the ground I walk on. And I love that line, but I didn't know what it meant. I called Chael, and I was like, hey, man, do you know what this means? He goes, no, but I think that's pretty cool. So I called Brew Chance, and Brew, he's a fan of the show. We've had him on. He said it means that if you cover the ground you walk on, you're bigger than your own shadow and anything in front of it. That's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad. I like that.
All right, so Champ, check this out. I didn't think you shined me. I was like, did he shine me? Did I get big timed by my man Lionheart? And you didn't. You had a legitimate excuse. You went to Costa Rica with your wife.
I did. We finally got a vacation, and honestly, I kind of skated a couple of things I was supposed to do, but I think I was just so excited, and I, not that I forgot about the trip coming up, but I just kind of kept going about life, planning things as normal, and then next thing I knew, it's 4 in the morning and we're on a flight to Costa Rica, and I said, shit, I forgot about Joel and a couple other things, and me and her made a deal that as soon as we left the country, that I would shut my phone off and I wouldn't turn it back on.
I'm so happy that you did that.
By that.
That's so cool. I was like, I don't think he big time me, and then I seen a picture from Costa Rica, and I was like, okay, that's what happened. All right, so let's get to Costa Rica. So this is the first vacation that you and your wife have had together in 10 years. No kids.
Yeah. Yeah, no kids, no other couples. It was the first time that we've had a legit vacation in 10 years, just her and I.
What was that like?
Honestly, it was kind of weird at first. We didn't know what to do. Like, we didn't go there with any plans. We just booked the trip to Costa Rica and just flew by the seat of our pants. And it turned out to be one of the most fun and greatest experiences I've ever been on.
You were young again, huh?
Yeah, it was just me and her, and no outside bullshit, no phones, no manager calling with a bunch of questions, and get me to do this and get me to do that, and I got to go here, and it was just none of that. It was like we were just, I don't know, just me and her just doing our own thing and just enjoying each other's company, and if something popped up, we're like, yeah, fuck it, let's go ziplining. There was no plans. It was like one day we just said, let's just go on this jet ski tour for 2 hours around these islands. We woke up every day with no plans.
And I bet a big part of it was just being disconnected from that phone, just shutting that phone off, and not only not answering the noise, but not taking in any of the noise, because most of us don't realize. Most of us don't realize that when you guys start climbing the ladder of success, and yours, and we'll get to that in a few minutes, yours is kind of steamrolled the last 6 months. And I'm sure the noise on that phone that you have has doubled. There's more people trying to get at you. There's more people throwing stuff at you. There's more people that want you to do things. That gets to be a little much, doesn't it?
It does. It gets overwhelming, and like you said, it's not even so much it's not even just all the noise that is created around my life as far, it's just, you got an appearance here, you got a sponsor, wants to talk to you here, you got an interview, which is all welcome problems, because if I wasn't doing well in my career and things weren't going well, no one would want to fucking talk to me. So it means that things are going well. But like you said, you're just taking in other people's noise too. You just scroll through Twitter one time and you're like, geez Christ, there's so much shit going on. And it was nice to just click off, and that was her idea. She just said, just turn it off and just enjoy being in the whatever moment you're in at the time. And I'm really glad that she suggested that, and I did. We had her phone on her at all times, but it was just for the kids at home to make sure in case something happened.
Sure.
Whatever. But it was on ring, and everything else was shut off, and we stayed off of social media. It was really nice to be disconnected from all the bullshit, but that also comes with its own price to pay, because then when you get back, you have a whole bunch of shit that you got to get to really quickly that you've kind of missed over the last week.
Yeah, it's kind of, my brother, I got a very, very successful brother, Dominic. He's a lawyer. And as he was really hitting his prime as a lawyer, he said, JoJo, he said, being a successful lawyer is kind of like a pie eating contest. He said the reward for winning the pie eating contest is more pie. The reward for being a successful lawyer is more work. The reward for being a successful fighter is more noise. Because and as it goes on, because I know this because I've watched it happen from the infancy. I watched a group of us go out to Vegas, and Randy fought Pedro for the world title in I believe it was the second time it was in Las Vegas. And I was there because I was helping sponsor, and I helped train Randy and everything. And Randy's his corner men were not picked until about 20 minutes before the fight. He was like, all right, who's going out with who? And we just looked around and said, well, I'll go out with Matt. And, Randy said, okay, you go with him and you go with – it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
And back then, the noise was so light. There wasn't a lot of noise as it goes on. And there is no way for any of us to read something about ourselves, whoever we are, whether you're John Doe or Anthony Smith or Joel. There's no way for us to read something about ourselves, have it go into our brain, and just dismiss it. It is there. It got into our head. So we're starting to see fighters, because we're fans of fighting, I'm sure it's in every avenue of life, disconnecting from the noise. Because as busy as you were when you got back, the 150 texts or the 300 texts or the 500 texts that you had to answer, how many of them were really that important?
Honestly, not many. And that's kind of the realization that I got. There wasn't that many things that were pressing. But damn well, if I'd have had my phone on me, they would have pretended like they were pressing at the moment. It's like, I got to take care of this right now. I got to deal with this very fucking second. I got to do this. I got to do that. And then, then I realized when we got back, most of that shit could have waited. There was a couple emails that would have been a little bit better had I answered them right away. But at the end of the day, no one died. You know what I mean? I didn't miss out on anything. I did, and that's the biggest thing. To be honest with you, Joel, I didn't miss anything. Like, it's not like there was a huge opportunity that I missed because I was in Costa Rica. So, and even since I've been back, I've been kind of doing a better job. Like, once nighttime hits and it's like, quote unquote business hours are closed, like, I'm kind of just checking out. Like, if you can't get it done or get it to me during the day, like, once it's 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, I'm out.
See, I see. This is what you're talking about. Is you're talking about managing something that affects all of us. It doesn't matter what level we're on. Okay, there's so much to that. Is hey, I can answer that text in the morning. I don't need to get back to it right now. We have lost the ability because of the overstimulation. I was talking about this before you came on the show. We've lost the ability to communicate. We don't talk. We talk through this phone and we send a text.
Mm-hmm.
And we've lost the ability to say, "Hey man, I'm going away for the weekend. I'll talk to you when I get back." I grew up that way. Nothing ever changed. Nothing ever happened bad. The 3 or 4 times in life that an emergency happened, somebody figured out a way to get a hold of you. They call the hotel or somebody got a message. Nothing bad happened. We are overstimulated as a society, and it seems, and I love that you did that, because your career is jumping off. This is your third main event in the last 5 months, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the noise, I'm sure the shine, since the last time we spoke, since you took out, which world champion did you just? You took out
Rashad.
No, you took out Rashad, and then you took out Shogun.
Yeah,
Shogun was the second one, and now we have another main event coming up, and it looks to me like if you win that fight, you're probably going to be fighting for a title. I don't think that's the same to be said for the opponent, but I believe you've answered the call so many times from the UFC. You are in the shine now with the UFC, so the reward for your success is more work.
Yeah, and more noise. It just gets louder from here.
Yeah, but let me ask you this because I followed your career. I'm so happy for you. How's it feel to get that shine? How's it feel out there in Lincoln, in your hometown? I know you went to these two main events, but I'm going to step out of bounds a little bit and say neither one of those parties were for you. The first party was for Rashad, and the second party was for Shogun, and you crashed both those parties. So the first time you had some shine is you weren't even fighting was probably really in Lincoln.
Well, I didn't fight in Lincoln, right? So it was cool to go there and just enjoy the show and kind of be the guy on the sideline. So that was cool. But I think you're right. It was supposed to be Rashad's, going away party. He was supposed to go in, get this quick win, and sail out on the sunset. And I think he realized it. I think Rashad realized the week of the fight that things were going to be a lot different than he thought, because I don't think that he expected me to be who I am. I think that he thought I was just some, seasoned veteran kid that he could just roll over, and I think he realized that my mindset's totally different than that. And, the Shogun fight, that was supposed to be Shogun's fight to get him a title shot. No one was really giving me a shot at all, which is really funny to me that before the fight happens, I'm a lamb being led to slaughter. I'm just the guy that Shogun's going to knock out to move his way to a title shot. And then after the fight, all of a sudden Shogun can't even lace up his gloves. He's washed up. He sucks. When are people going to figure out that it's not them? There's nothing wrong with Rashad. He's a little bit older, and I think his mind's a little bit. I think he had one foot out the door for a long time. But as far as his technical ability, they act like Rashad's a 65-year-old man. The champion of the division is 6 years older than Rashad, or 4 years older than Rashad. And same with Shogun. Now all of a sudden he's a fucking child that can't defend himself. I don't know when people are going to find out that maybe they're not bad and I'm just that good.
Well, they're learning, my friend. They're learning. So let me ask you this, because this kind of goes on to, the Costa Rica trip. I'm going to step out of bounds again here and say there's another side of this success that people don't see. They don't see how hard it's been to be a professional fighter and take care of a family and take any fight that anybody will give you for any money. I'm going to assume that this is the first time since you've become a professional fighter that you have been relieved from there being more bills sticking at you, looking at you, peeking around the corner than there is income, meaning this is the first time you've been on top of it. And if so, how good does that feel out of all of it?
Honestly, that's one of the things that I'm most proud of. People, and I think fans on the outside don't understand. And of course you've been on the inside for a long time. You know that until you're in a position that I'm in, you ain't making no money. And I mean, obviously you're getting checks, but you're not, for the time that takes to get there. It's not really worth it when it comes down to it. So that's why your mind's got to be in the right place. So when I first started fighting, you know, I've always worked. So up until I fought Andrew Sanchez, I was working a full-time job as a concrete finisher and training, you know, and fighting in the UFC. It's not like you get signed to the UFC and all of a sudden you're all the shit that you have on your shoulders is lifted and you're making all this money. So to be in a position now where I can just up and take my lady to Costa Rica and not worry about anything, you know, the only thing that I've ever wanted, Joel, is I want to go to the gas station and fill my truck up and not worry about how much it costs. And I want to go to the grocery store and get anything that we need and fill up 2 carts if that's what it takes, and not peep the register every time something scans and see how much it is. You know, I like going to restaurants and picking up the tab for, you know, take my mom out, my sister and her kids and shit, and pay for dinner. Like, I don't need to be rich. I don't drive a Range Rover. I drive a Dodge Ram. You know, I'm not out here living some crazy extravagant life. But not worrying about the financial part, you know, is part of that. That's why I don't live an extravagant life. You know, I don't worry about when the mortgage comes out or when the cell phone bills are due. That's all I've ever wanted. I don't care about anything more than that. I want a world championship and to not worry about my bills being paid. That's it.
Yeah,
and
that's
right now I got half of that.
That's and I'm so happy. I'm so happy for you because most of us on this earth don't know what that feels like. Don't know, because we talk about the noise. Well, there's financial noise staring at each and every one of us, no matter where our position is. Is it we're trying to get the kids to college? Are we just trying to pay rent next week? Are we just trying to get enough gas to get to work? No matter where we are. And to be on top of it for just a minute, to get that feeling for just a minute, man, it feels good. And you're smart enough to not only recognize it, but appreciate it. When we lose appreciation for things, man, all of the lessons that we've learned, they kind of go away. So I'm pumped about that. I am pumped about that. All right, man. Let's talk about some fighting, and not your fighting. You're on a roll. I'm gonna leave you alone. You go do your thing. But you're a fan of this sport. Let's talk about some other fighting. We've got Darren Till versus T. Wood this weekend. Now the question I gotta ask you, and you know it as well as anybody. The difference between cutting weight, losing weight, and making weight. Those are 3 things. And I'm looking at Darren Till right now. It looks like he is drawn out. They said he was 182 pounds, which is really, really low for him. It looks to me that he may have went the other way with it. He may have been so worried about making that weight that he's basically been cutting weight this entire camp to make the final pain a little less painful. I don't know if that's real or not. I think Darren Till is an amazing story that I just heard this week. All I've heard is these other things. Now I've learned a little bit about him. God, what an amazing story. But in terms of you are somebody big that knows, man, tell me, speak on what I'm talking about those 3 things.
Well, I think that Darren Till has gone through a battery of different ways of trying to figure out how he can get on the scale and say 170 pounds. And honestly, I think him missing weight his last fight and it being such a big deal actually helped him. I really do, because now I think he was embarrassed, and I think he really felt like he showed his ass to the world. And you know, I've been watching some interviews. I mean, you know me, man. I'm a junkie. I'm super connected in the fight world. So, you know, I'm tuned into what's going on. And so I've been watching the interviews, and you can just tell, like, he's so sick of hearing about it, and he's sick of cutting weight. He talks a lot about how he hates dieting, and he you know, he hates this and he hates that. But I watched him step on the scale this morning online, and he stepped on 169 pounds. He was one of the first guys to weigh in. So I think you're right. It looks like he really drastically tried to bring his weight down the whole training camp so that he didn't have to kill himself the last 2 days. But what is that going to do to his body? Like Darren Till, kind of his thing is being such a large man. Well, now he's kind of dieted himself down to just a regular-sized dude at 170. So I don't know what that's gonna look like when it comes fight time, because no matter what he weighs tomorrow, his body composition has changed. If he's walking around at 195 and then he was crashing the last 2 weeks, by the time he fought again, he's back to 195, right? So now if he's walking around at 182, that's 10 pounds that he's not carrying that he normally has, at his disposal. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. Are we going to see a different Darren Till tomorrow because he's a smaller man? I don't know.
I tell you, the thing that I look at there is, and you can speak on this, is if you are cutting weight the entire camp, which it looks like he was. It looks, I mean, I'm glad he made weight and good for him. And God, what an amazing story. I mean, this is a guy that people don't know. This guy's only ever had a plan to be a world champion. He didn't have plan B. He got in a little dust up when he was 17. He got stabbed, and his coach put him on a plane and sent him to Brazil. This is a real story. This is a feel-good story, and he seems to be a pretty good cat. But let's stay on point here. If he has been cutting weight this entire camp, which means he's running, he's doing cardio, he's cutting down on his calories. The one thing he's not doing is he's not getting good, hard, live rounds with energy. And I know you know what that feels like.
Yeah, I've been talking about it for months. Since I moved up to 205, here's the deal. I will make whatever weight you tell me to make, but what am I going to be like? And I've been talking about, everyone keeps saying, well, you probably feel better that you're not cutting that much weight, and that's why you're fighting so well. That's not it at all. I'm fighting so well at 205 because I'm not spending 10 weeks crushing myself to get to 185. So instead of doing all these extra runs, this extra strength and conditioning, waking up in the morning feeling like dog shit, I'm showing up to practice focused with a clear mind, feeling good with a little bit of a pep in my step, walking into the gym, enjoying being there. I don't think people understand how mental this game is. If you show up to the gym every day, calorie deficient, tired, sore, all the other shit that you're dealing with when you're cutting weight, you're not in tune with what's going on around you. You're just trying to get through it. You're just going through the motions half of the time. You're only getting a small percentage of what you could possibly get out of that training session out of it because of the way that what you're doing to yourself. So I think that I'm competing so well because I feel good and I'm spending my those last 6 to 8 weeks hard training, just focusing on getting better. If Darren Till moved up to 185 and he was so much less worried about making the weight, and you gave Darren Till an entire training camp without worrying about what he weighed every day, I mean, imagine what kind of monster that kid would be. He's not getting hard sparring sessions where he's 100% and he's able to push it to that next level because he just doesn't have it in him. He's been training at a small percentage of his capability for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I thought quite a bit about this. This is really a unique situation. What happened is Usman was cutting weight. I don't know if he made weight. I haven't checked the thing, but he was brought in to be a backup, to be a stand-in in case anybody did not make weight or something happened to the main event. For people to truly understand, how hard it is to make weight, how hard it is for somebody who is in shape, physically fit, to lose 20 pounds in a week. It's mind-boggling how tough that is. Now, what is the reason for you to do that? Well, for Till and for Woodley, Well, their reason is they're fighting for a world championship and a bunch of money and a bunch of glory. For Usman, man, he's fighting. Now they are going to, give him some money, but he's cutting that weight for a dice roll.
Mm-hmm.
The mentality, the mental strength that it takes to cut 20 pounds in a week from a healthy body. Man, I don't ever know how you ever made weight and then came out and fought the way you fought those wars. It blew my mind. I'm so happy you're at 205 pounds just because those fights, even though you are making them short, you guys are training for a marathon in there. You guys are training to go 15, or now you're looking at 25 minutes, and people don't understand those are two different camps. A 3-round fight and a 5-round fight are two different camps. But, man, how hard is it? How hard would it be to go ahead and lose 20 pounds from a fit body, and you might get to fight?
Yeah, that's tough. I don't know how you mentally prepare to be a stand-in like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know that they've had a couple heavyweights do it a couple times, but as far as Usman, he's a big dude. Having to cut that weight, I don't know how you mentally prepare for that. Like, how do you spend your week? Like, I don't know. That's a total different mindset, because we're cutting, like you said, we're cutting the weight for the money and the glory and chasing a world championship. Like, he's cutting to maybe fight. So what are you using mentally to push through those situations when you want to get out of the tub or you want to get out of the sauna or whatever? What's keeping you in there? Because you may not fight.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I've thought quite a bit about this, because we're talking about 20 pounds, and we fans, we watch these guys and we bitch and we complain when they don't make weight and anything. But there is never a time that anybody has ever made a hard cut that they didn't think about quitting. Okay.
Right. There's plenty of times when I'm like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I'm done. I don't
care. Well, just to move on to a different point, back when I was cutting real hard, and it kind of ended, I think that the landscape has changed a little bit, since I've moved up. But the repercussions were so high for missing weight that there wasn't an option to miss weight. Well, nowadays it's not really that big of a deal, to be honest. I mean, I like Darren Till. I'm a big fan of his, but he missed weight in his last fight. And now he's fighting for a world title. So that, if I thought back to the fight in Brazil, when I just, that last fight at 185, if I'd have known that it wouldn't have mattered that much to miss the weight, I mean, fuck it. I might have just said, all right, these last 3 pounds are going to be the worst. This is what's really going to wreck me. I'll just take the 20% fine and go in and win the fight.
Yeah,
what I mean?
That's hindsight, brother. You would have made weight.
For sure, absolutely. But I mean, that's not my mindset. But there's a lot of people in the UFC that do have that mindset. So where's that going to go? Because now Darren Till's proven that it doesn't really matter. As long as you perform and you're popular and you fight well, the weight, missing weight can still get you a title shot. So, like you said, that's not my mindset. I'll always make the weight, because that's just how I was raised. I'm in that. I think I'm still in that like we've said, that last generation of guys that have the old school mentality. But these younger guys coming up, man, I really think that that's something that's been happening.
Yeah, I tell you, it's the weight cutting it's just fascinating to me, because I know both sides of it. And
what's the answer?
The answer, here's the problem, is no matter what you do, people are going to game the system. They're going to try to game the system. The answer, I truly believe the only answer is the answer of same-day weigh-ins, just like the wrestlers do. That's the only way to actually make it a healthy sport. I go to Kevin Lee, man. I go to Kevin Lee. He's just one of the fighters that I'm like, dude, that guy's a big 70-pounder. How in the hell's he cutting to 55? My buddy Jake Smith, he didn't need to be cutting 155 pounds, and he's like, well, I have to. I'm too small, and I'm like, man, you've got hands. Okay, you have different weapons. Use those weapons. Don't take them away from you the last 3 weeks because you're cutting weight. The answer is a couple things. The answer, I think fighters need to be taken care of in some manner. I hate to see guys doing this. I hate to see Chris Lieben going out and fighting. I'm glad he's getting $100,000. Good for him. I hate to see him going out and doing a bare-knuckle fight after all the wars he's been through because he doesn't have any money. I want fighters to be taken care of. This is a multi-billion-dollar business, and you guys should be treated like true professional athletes. With that, there needs to become a collective bargaining agreement that we are going to do this and we're going to do that. The more guys like you that have success at a more natural weight, because you should have never been at 185 pounds, but it's the landscape. You're like, God, these guys are giants at 205. And now you're feeling it. Now you're coming into your own. It's a beautiful thing to see. But the reality is, man, the answer is everybody getting together and communicating what is best for the sport. Because when fighters start saying they're waiting for somebody to die, somebody's gonna fucking die.
And it's gonna happen if things keep going. I have been in a place. Everybody says they feel like they're dying. You're right. So everyone says that. But my last 2 weight cuts, I've been doing this shit a long time, and I'm no bitch. You know, I'm one of the mentally strongest people in the UFC, and I'll scream that from the rooftops. There's no one's gonna out mental me. And there was a couple times where I was thinking, I don't know how much further I can go before I start doing serious damage. Like I was starting to scare myself because you can feel when shit's going wrong. You can feel like this isn't right.
Yeah, when you can't breathe and you can't walk and your head's spinning and you don't have any, man, people do not understand that what you guys do. I imagine it is as close to being a starved out prisoner of war mentally. I mean, I had some big cuts in my time as an athlete, but just so I would have an understanding of what it feels like. And then now you guys have taken it that next step, that next 7 to 10 pounds, which is crazy to me.
I wish, like you said, if we could just get every UFC fighter in one room and say, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Right? How much do you weigh? Okay. You're like 210. All right. You're a 205 pounder. Now this guy, what do you weigh? Oh, you're 250. Oh, you also fight at 205. No, you're a heavyweight now, bitch. Like Rampage, I cannot believe that dude used to make 205. You know, and those were the kind of people that kept me from moving up. It was Rampage and Forrest and Stephan Bonner. I mean, these guys are just monsters, dude. But I just got to the point where it was like I really felt like if I kept going and kept doing what I was doing, that I was going to be in a position where I wasn't going to be able to fight anymore. I mean, when you're cutting weight and you can feel your organs inside hurting and burning, you know, like you just can't do that anymore. Like at that point, I said, if I ain't good enough to be successful at 205, then I shouldn't be here anyway.
Yeah,
if I'm a little bit smaller, at this point, I'll just get better. You know what I mean? And instead of worrying about getting smaller, I'm just going to get better. And if I start having trouble with people that are stronger or more powerful, then I'll just keep getting better. You know, like I feel like I'm, you know, I believe that I'm good enough to beat anybody in the world. It shouldn't matter what the weight is. So that's kind of the mindset that I approached it with. And I hope that other guys, you know, I tell everybody in the game, like that I know when, you know, when you run into someone that's struggling, like your Kevin Lees and stuff like that. And all they keep talking about is wanting more weight classes. By adding more weight classes, you're going to create an even worse problem. If you add a 165, how many of those guys at 170 are going to say, shit, man, I bet I can make 165. All you're doing is creating another 5-pound cut for a large percentage of people.
Yeah, you're not doing anything with it. I agree 100%. I would love the only guy that could make any change in this sport's a guy named Conor McGregor. And if he decided, you know what, I want to do something. I want to do something for this sport. I'm going to be the Pied Piper. I'm going to lead everybody into that room, and we're going to figure it out. If you can successfully make two weights and you can succeed at those weights, more power to you. But if it is unhealthy, if a professional says, listen, the only way you're going to get to 169 pounds, Darren Till, is you're going to lose 5% muscle mass in doing it. What? Wait, I don't want to get – what are you talking about? And that's what's going on. Guaranteed Darren Till lost at least 3% lean muscle mass to make that weight today, and it's probably going to affect him tomorrow. And I feel bad for him because I fell in love with the story. But the only guy that I believe could change until you win about 15 in a row and you become the Pied Piper, Lionheart, is Conor McGregor. And I hope he does it. But let me get through this. Let me get your predictions on 3 fights real quick, and then we're going to send you off. We're going to send you off. God damn, you're going to – where are you going? Ed Herman's on that card. Where are you going to fight Volkov?
Moncton, Canada.
Moncton, Canada. Well, if I could get into – if they would let me into Canada, Lionheart, me and Lad would go up. They will not let me in.
Shit, I'm worried about that too.
All right, brother.
Through the paperwork now.
There. All right, let me get you 3 predictions, and we'll kiss you goodbye, and we'll wish you luck. And thanks for coming on. All right, we got Darren Till versus T. Wood.
Man, I like you said, I really love Darren Till. Man, I love his style. I love his personality. I love the way that he fights. I love his mindset more than anything. I think that Darren Till's someone that me and him could sit down and have some beers together. You know, that's the type of dude I could hang out with. But I don't think Tyron Woodley's going to show up to fight. I don't. And that's not saying that I don't think he's going to win, because I think I'm going to pick Woodley, because I don't think that Tyron Woodley's going to actually show up to fight. He's going to continue to keep playing his chess game. And as much as people hate to see it, dude's getting paid, and he's holding on to a world championship belt. You know, I don't necessarily get excited to watch Tyron Woodley fight, but I don't necessarily see a whole lot of people with an answer for him yet. So I think that Darren Till's going to force the fight as much as he can, and I think that Tyron's going to be smart. He's going to shoot takedowns a lot. He's going to get Darren worried about the takedown, and then that's going to open up his hands.
All right, I like that, and I like what you're saying. We're probably not going to see a barn burner. I hope we're both wrong. All right, Conor and Khabib.
Man, that's a tough one. It really is. I've yet to give a prediction because I don't know yet. You know, people ask, and my answer is the same. I don't know. If I had to die on the hill, I would say I think Conor, man. I really do. I think that Khabib is the better overall fighter. I think his skill set overall is better, but I think that Khabib is very hittable, and he's proved that a lot. And he's taken big shots from people, but he's never taken shots from someone like Conor. Conor is a master at managing distance, and that's the one hole that Khabib has. He's obviously a phenomenal wrestler. His jiu-jitsu and top game is second to none. But he has a hard time closing that distance and being in that middle range, and Conor dominates that middle range on everybody. Now, if Khabib gets a hold of Conor, it's going to be a fucking long night for Conor. But I just think that Khabib is not good enough at closing that distance in a safe way. I think that Conor's timing and his distance management is just too good.
All right, and the last one, Big Ferg versus Anthony Pettis. Kevin Ferguson versus Anthony Pettis.
I'm going to go with Ferg. I think he's just better. I do. And I think it's just his time.
And I hope so. I think it's.
I do too. I mean, I'm a Pettis fan. I like Pettis, but you know, he's been hit and miss. You know, he's coming on recently, but he hasn't been real consistent in a long time. And Ferg, man, that dude's just a freak. You know what I mean? You can think you have that dude in the worst position possible, and it's like bad positions don't exist to that guy. Like he'll find a way to hurt you or attack you from whatever position he's in. People like that with a mindset where they never feel down. And I know I talk about the mindset part of the game a lot. That dude's mindset is on point. Even if you're in a dominant position on that dude, he doesn't ever feel like you're in a dominant position, because he can find a way to still attack you from there.
Yeah, well,
that's
he's
an intangible that a lot of people don't have.
He's in a marathon, and everybody else is in a 400 meter. All right, bro. Thank you. Keep doing your thing. Shut that noise off. Go beat this kid up, and then we'll come out to your title shot because it'll be in Vegas, baby, and that's the only place they should ever do a fight.
I agree with that. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot. My bad for missing you last week. I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. Keep the 8192.
Wait, before you go, how's Vlad?
Man, he's killing it. He's killing it. Yeah, man, he is all about it. He's figuring out how Anthony Smith and Ricky Story can be world champs at the same time, and how he's rolling. He's all over it.
Well, I definitely want to make it out there, man. To me and Chael, we just haven't, our schedules haven't matched up, man. I really want to get out there and get some training in with Chael. So,
well, he wins this one
at some point.
Chael wins this one. You win that one. Yeah, that'd be perfect time to come out and train. All right, champ.
Hell yeah.
I will talk to you soon.
All right, man,
thanks for coming on.
Yourself.
All right, bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, he's 6'1". He's 215 pounds, and he covers the ground he walks on. My partner, Brother Sin, Kevin Sinier. What's up, brother?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I tell you, I just had a great talk with Anthony Smith, and we'll revisit some of those things. But dude, we've been. No, you were on last week. You were in just for a minute, but I want to kind of revisit some of the things that I started the show out with, brother. And I love it when you're on. I realize how hard it is for you to peel off at 10:30 on Friday, or 11 o'clock now on Friday. So I really do appreciate you coming on. But I want to talk about some of the things that I started the show with. And the first thing is this Nike thing. Okay, I want to ask you two questions. First question is, do you believe that police should profile and beat minorities?
And beat minorities, no.
Okay.
No, I do not.
All right, that's a bad thing, right? You do not believe that's a good thing. Do you believe that Americans, whether they be professional athletes or not, me and you, do you believe that we should disrespect veterans and disrespect the flag of the United States during the national anthem?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right. So, and those are the two sides of this thing. Those are the two sides of this thing. And, I talked about how upset I was last year. I got on the show. I started screaming about it. I think at the end of the day, where we've lost track as society, and I mentioned you and I mentioned that the only time we ever talk is on this show. Everything else is via text, and things can get misconstrued via text. I believe as a society, we have lost the ability to communicate with one another. That's the same reason I referenced how my brother Dominic can be super successful in so many different ways and articulate and smart. And if we're not communicating, he's 100% wrong on Donald Trump. You, other side of that, successful, good family man, well-spoken, educated, you would be 100% right. If the two of you were talking that subject, there would be no middle ground. There would be nobody changing each other's opinion. But if you two came together and just started talking about sports in person, or how you raise your kids, or what else to do, and you use something called communication, there would be a different outcome. So my question to you is, have we as a society lost the ability to communicate with each other? Because I know you and I, because we don't talk, because we don't have a one-on-one maybe every week to go over the show or something. We're not actually talking. We, the two of us, partners in this venture, have lost the ability to communicate, or not lost the ability, have never had it. We've never made it a priority to communicate. Can you speak on that, brother?
Oh, I think you're absolutely correct. People have no clue how to have civil discourse, how to have engaging, educated, logical, thought-out discussions without getting extremely irate or emotional. There's no middle ground. There's no give and take. There's no quid pro quo. That has all been tossed out the window with the advent of texting, online communication, social media. People can make their stance in 140 characters or 280 or whatever it now is on Twitter and argue back and forth with somebody all day long. But to sit down with somebody, Charlie Rose style, across the table and have a civil conversation where communication is made, ground is gained, middle ground is gained, is gone. It doesn't happen. People are at a point where they are unwilling to shift their views, change their stance, be open to new ideas. We are in a era of civility where it has gotten to the point where there is no changing of minds, there is no rationale, there is no meeting in the middle. We've been divided. So we've both lost our ability to communicate and educate one another, and we have gotten to the point where we are as a society divided, where we cannot change minds. We will not change minds. We will not see the other side. We see it as we see it, and those who don't see it that way are wrong. And because we no longer have the ability to have that discourse, that's not going to change. It is a serious societal problem, and I don't know what we're going to do about it.
We've got to, we have, the first thing we have to do is we have to understand that this is a problem, that this is, and the only way that anybody will ever change anything is either to make their children's life better or to make their own life better in the immediate future. Those are, I truly believe that. We're not, I talked about this Nike thing, and boy, we are all up in arms about this, that, and the other, and I'm not sure if you've watched the Nike commercial with Colin Kaepernick. Have you?
Honestly, no, I have not.
You should go watch it. You should go watch it because it's a fantastic commercial. It's speaking on a bunch of different fronts, all of which are good. And we do not like the communication gap that Colin Kaepernick has shown us. We and me and you are the same. Man, just stand up. This isn't brain surgery, guys. Stand up, man. Do everything afterwards. But my point is that Colin Kaepernick comes out to Portland, and there's a huge parade, and they're doing the promotion because Portland's the headquarters for Nike, and there was a protest. Do you know how many people were at that protest, Sin?
No.
One.
No, I do not.
One. Okay. One person in the Portland area was at that protest. It was one woman. I wonder how many people on social media had threatened to burn their Nikes and never to sport Nike again and this, that, and other in the Portland area. I would imagine at least 5,000. So did they not communicate how to protest accurately? I tell you what, I was wrong. I did a podcast the other day, but I never sent it to anybody. But what I spoke on is I thought Nike was going to lose 10% of their share. They've lost a little bit over a point as of last I looked. So I think as the news cycle changes, I think they'll move on. But I know where you stand on this. I know how upset your dad is over this, I'm sure. But I do in terms of talking about communicating and looking at different sides of things. I do ask you to go watch that commercial. And the getting back to how we change this thing, I think the number one overriding thing that we need to do as a society is shut these damn phones off. And you and I should make it a point that we talk on the phone at the same time every week, whatever time that is, because I guarantee every miscommunication that happened this week between you and I and Kyle would have been handled. We would have had a plan of attack, because, man, nobody has the time to have actual communication on text to 100 different people. We need to put those phones down, and we also need to pick them up. Hey, Kevin, this is Joel. Hey, what's up, Joel? Hey, what are we doing for the show? Hey, let's do this. Da-da-da-da-da. 10 minutes later, we don't have to text each other again until Friday. It's set in stone. We don't talk as a society. We are reading and misreading text. We are reading and misreading Facebook posts. We are not digging into things. This is Nike, this disrespecting the flag and the veterans, and the cause of police brutality and the Me Too movement, not Me Too, but the Black Lives Matter. This is a really, really simple thing that should have been able to be handled. And all it takes is our side, because you and I are on the same side of this thing, understanding, okay, there's going to be a protest either before the game or after the game, and we will listen to it. And on the other side, you guys will stand up when they're playing the national anthem. Does that to you, to my partner, to a civilized human being on this planet, does that sound reasonable?
Does to me.
Yeah. So I mean, I talked to Anthony, and we talked about the noise that is created through these phones and how much of it is actually needed. How much of this noise do we need as human beings to continue to prosper? And we both agree, Les. I think as everything comes back, styles come back, I believe we're going to start seeing people say, I've got to put this damn phone down. I've got to get off Facebook. I've got to get off Twitter. It's no good. Because our kids, Sin, my boy's 15, your kids, they will never know a society without instant information. They'll never. It'll be like 1950s to them. They'll never know. And if we don't set the example and take those phones out of their hands and have family time and sit around a dinner table, it's just going to keep spiraling out of control, because something so small has taken up so much time. Okay. Hey, guys, stand up. National anthem's going on. Hey, no, but we want to protest police brutality. All right, cool. Check this out. I understand what you're saying there. Hey, let's do it right after the game. Okay? We'll do a prayer. We'll come up with something. Both races will do this, but we'll do it right after the game. Does that work for you? Okay, cool. Thanks. Done. No logical, reasonable person wants police to stereotype and beat minorities. Not one single clear-thinking human being on this earth would say that's a good idea. On the other side of it, no American, especially no American that has had family members in the military, have lost family members in the military, not one single one of them are ever going to say, please disrespect our flag and disrespect our national anthem. It doesn't make any sense. And because we can't communicate, we're still talking about it. It's still a talking point. People are still pounding their chest.
Yes, you are right. And my fear, my fear on some of these issues is that improvement never gets made, issues never get resolved, because the media does so much to highlight and cherry pick and choose what gets blown up and what isn't. And people see that there's as much violence against other groups and against whites or whatever it may be that gets swept under the rug, that doesn't get communicated, that doesn't get blown up on the media. And there's always going to be anger and ill feelings. And I fear certain issues like that one just aren't ever going to get resolved. But
yeah, it does. It makes zero sense. You know, I live in a nice area. I know you live in a nice area. We go to the coffee shop. We see the police in there. They're just like you or I. They're not trying to do anything wrong. Okay, when you take statistics. Okay, I'm sure I flunked statistics at one time in my life, but I understand how statistics work. Okay, if you take a large enough group of people, within that group, there's going to be some bad seeds, and it doesn't matter if it's mixed martial arts, police, football, insurance agents, mortgage brokers. It doesn't matter. Statistics prove that, and we spend too much of our time truly celebrating those bad seeds, making the profession as being, these guys aren't rich. These guys are risking their life. Do you think if we supported them a little bit more, maybe they would police each other a little bit more? I believe so. So there's a lot of, and it all gets to communication, every bit of it. So that's my rant on communication. I do hope, bro, you and I start getting together one time a week, because we're in a different time zone. And when I'm hot and ready to go, you're already up for 3 hours. You're already in the middle of our day. So I hope we as a show take the first step in communication and talk on the phone once a week about the next show, because we would have what we had here is, and I take full blame for it, we would have Amanda Cooper on. I waited a week, and I should have took care of it, and it looks like she's not going to show. But Anthony Smith came on and killed it, and now me and you get to talk about some fighting. Have the guys made weight yet?
yes, the headliner is confirmed. T. Wood at 170, Darren Till made 169.
Okay, did Usman step on the scale, or did they hide that?
I hadn't seen that as of yet. I know the Shevchenko fight was off because her opponent, the champ, was rushed to the hospital.
Ha! Oh, no. Oh, no. I did not. Okay, so this is breaking news to me. Shevchenko, who said all week that she didn't believe that gal was going to make it to the fight, was right.
Correct.
So what are they doing? Why wouldn't they just do? I mean, has there been any talk of Carla? And no, they're at 115 pounds.
Yeah, not at this point. As of right now, they've scrapped the fight. So whether they try and find a replacement, I don't know, but they have scrapped it.
Man, me and Anthony talked quite a bit about the weight cutting issue, and that's too sad for that girl. I know nobody wants to miss weight. Nobody wants to miss weight. Nobody wants to go through all the pomp and circumstance, and then have themselves left at the altar. That's sad. That's sad for Valentina. I don't even know that girl's name. That is the champion at that weight class. Do you? Little help.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you cut out there.
The gal that missed weight, the champion of 125 pounds in the UFC. What's her name?
Oh, Nico Montano.
Nico Montano. Okay, so Nico. Yeah, that's too sad. That's too sad. That's a tough. Man, this keeps happening over and over and over again. What's the answer? What? me and Anthony just talk about that. So, all right, so let's get to Till and Woodley. What do you see there?
Well, I mean, Till came out and said even though he made weight, he's still not 100% healthy. He did the interview this morning at the weigh-in. He said, he wants no sympathy. He's not making any excuses, but he's not 100% healthy. So
why in the hell would he say that?
I have no idea. Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, for him to come in lighter than Woodley is surprising. I mean, Woodley needed the towel to make 170. And Till, in the face-off just looks so much bigger. But if he's not healthy, I think he's got the knockout power to take Woodley out early. But, Woodley's a savage. So, if it goes beyond round one, if he's not 100% healthy, yeah, I see Woodley taking it.
Yeah, that's a shame that Darren Till came out and said that. I feel very bad for him that he would. Did he say it just right after he made weight or something? That just seems a really weird thing to say. Is hey, I'm not healthy. Wow. Okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. Darren Till's a great story. Yeah, a fantastic story. I complain about mixed martial arts media all the time because I believe it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. When news is he said, she said, then every single one of us is a reporter, right?
Yep.
John Jones said this. Oh, so what? John Jones is suspended. Why would you write about that? Colby Covington said this. Okay. Does that make it true? Is that really a story? And it's on all three. We're junkies. Me and you and Anthony. We're MMA junkies. We go to the same sites. There's no. Why did it take so long for somebody to explain to me what a great story Darren Till is? This is a guy that never had a backup plan. He started fighting when he was around 13. Decided he was going to be the best fighter in the world. At one time it was Muay Thai. Then he decided it was going to be mixed martial arts. Gets in a dust-up, gets stabbed at I believe 17 years old. The next day his coach puts him on a plane and sends him to Brazil for a few years. He is loyal to his coach, would walk into fire for him. And he has made this a reality. He has a chance to achieve something that he's been saying, I'm going to be the UFC welterweight champion for the last, 8 years of his life or 7 years of his life. That's a wonderful story. Why did it take beyond the fight, beyond the, countdown show and these embedded things for me to get that story? Do you know why? Because there is no mixed martial arts media. All I heard was Darren said. Darren said he didn't care about his wife and he didn't care about his kid. Well, that's not true at all.
Yeah, you're right. It's the he said, she said makes it just convolutes good stories, good messages, fighter stories, fighter backdrop. It just makes a mess of it.
All right, man. It
appears everybody else is on weight though. Usman, yes, made weight. Aljamain Sterling, everybody's on. Magomed Sharapov Zabit, the big, tall, lanky up-and-comer. He made it, had to come back, made 147, then came back, made 146. So that'll be a good one. Yeah, it looks like everybody else, the females, Esparza, Carolina Kovalkovich, who there's a dime piece if you've ever seen one.
Oh, you're on her now.
Well, she's another Polish, Polish knockout. I don't think Joanna's all that bad when they make her up, but Carolina's, she's one to follow on Instagram. She's a doll. She's no Claudia, but she's a doll.
Yeah, I was
classical looking.
I was hoping to have our first woman on the show today. That would have been great. Hey, so there's no. I bet I bet either Tatiana or Carla, or because now you're talking about what's that? The Polish girl who she's fighting Andrade. I bet any four of those women would go up to 125 pounds and fight for that strap. And the fight to make, if you were going to make a fight, would be the Polish girl. I mean, fight styles. Andrade could possibly beat her, but I hope they do that. Yeah. I hope they do that. I hope they give us a championship fight and pay all the girls. That sucks that people miss weight. Well, man, talk about a thin card. I mean, in terms of the, not disrespecting anybody on this card, but in terms of, wow, okay. I mean, I would have loved to have Amanda Cooper on because she could actually speak about these women fighters a little bit more than we could. But anyway, all right, let's veer off topic since I think my opinion on the Woodley Till fight is, I believe Tyrone T Wood, since I can't say his name no matter how hard I try, T Wood's going to win that fight because Darren cut himself into sickness. He's not 100% because all he's been doing is cutting weight for the last 6 weeks. I mean, he looked drawn out yesterday, which means I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with Woodley. I don't think this is the end of Darren Till. I think Darren Till's going to go up to 185 pounds and be reckoned with. You sometimes you have to make concessions to reality, and I think the reality is Darren Till's a 185-pounder, and he'll be better served at that weight class. I hope we see a good fight. I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to veer off track, and then we'll talk about some football and shut this show off. So I've been in sales. I've been in sales forever. I've owned companies. I've always considered myself a very good guy to work for. I'm pro labor. So I'm sitting at the gym yesterday, and the owner of my company calls me, and he says, "Hey, do you know where you're at?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm at 80 grand in gross, which gets me a 2% bonus. So a $1,600 bonus or whatever. Then that's what I'm expecting, and great, and I'm happy with it, and it was a good month, and I'm very grateful for it." And he says, "No, you're at one of your other deals went through. You're at $99,648. Well, that changes the bonus from $1,800 to $3,000, and I'm $400 off. And I'm talking to the owner, and I'm like, dude, why don't I just buy that down? Why don't I just pay for it? I'm talking to the owner. He's trying to help me kink the system so he can give me $3,000 instead of giving me $1,800. And he said, well, you can go out and pay for it, but you've got to do it on a deal that you did last month, and you need to do it before the 10th. So you can go out and buy Kevin Senior $400 worth of gutters if you want. That will get you over the $100,000 threshold, and that'll get you an extra $1,200, which is a no-brainer, right? I mean, that's $800 to the good. Anyway, not only did he, and so I did it. That's of course what I did. It took me 10 minutes to figure it out. So not only did he do that, he did it with another guy. So the first time in the history of an owner coming through and helping a guy get a bonus isn't just one. He did it 2 times, and I wanted to speak on that. I wanted to throw that out to the universe because that's really cool. And that I would have never done that. I would have cheated. Kevin, if you came up $600 short of the bonus, I'd have thrown you 3 bills and said, "Hey, man, I appreciate it, but you missed it. You missed it. Work a little harder." How about you? You pay bonuses, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What would you? Well, you're not changing the rules to give your employees more money, are you?
Probably not. No.
Right.
No, I'd have done what you said. I'd kicked a little bit in just for the, here's a little bit for the effort. But beyond that, no. So that's quite the anomaly. What your guy did. That's something to be appreciated. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't like to. It really affected me. I'm like, as much as I hate to be an employee, I actually like doing what I'm doing. I go over to your house and you either need a roof or you don't. I mean, I don't do the pitch that I'm supposed to do. I hit the high points. I'm obviously having success with it. So I'm very grateful for it. And that meant the world to me because I would not have done it. I consider myself a guy that, you know, I owned a company for years and I had very little turnover in a business that has a ton of turnover. And I would not have done that. Not only wouldn't I have done it once, I wouldn't have done it twice. He took about $4,000 out of his pocket that he didn't need to.
Yeah, that's rare. I mean, 'cause most of us guys were, we want people to be happy, but at the same time, it's all bottom line.
Yeah. So that means something to me. Hopefully I will stick to it. Hopefully I will. I mean, God, this is such an easy job. It is. This is as easy.
Has it been 90 days yet?
Oh God, no. We're at 60. We're at 60. Or pushing up on 60. Boy, is it talk about an easy job, man. As entitled as I want to be, I need to learn from this. I need to accept, just like I talked about last week. I need to accept the sign that I received last week when I went to the hospital as, hey, I'm trying to show you something. And the same with this job. I need to, I don't need to quit dreaming about other things or accomplishing different things. But, yeah, I do need to be grateful, for sure. All right. How about some football, Sin?
What do you want to talk about? Pro, college?
How many?
What we're thinking?
Well, let's revisit your trip last week because
yes.
We're now into our second year of doing this. So we can have 8192 established in 2017.
Yes.
So last year you went on this trip and it was miserable. The pictures you took were miserable. You spent a fortune. You tried to make everybody happy and you couldn't do it and you were down. So the only thing you changed up this time was you guys didn't go to the actual game. So
yeah, we didn't go to this one. So last year it was just the wife and I, my oldest daughter, and my son, who was still lap bound, so it was easy. But this year we took everybody. So we took the 6-year-old, the 4-year-old, the 1.5-year-old, and the newborn. So we had the tribe of 6 that rolled out to South Bend. So we did everything on campus up to game time. So we hit the bookstore where I, spent enough for a small.
What did you? What was your bill in the bookstore?
Which time?
Over a G. Over a G. Did you spend over $1,000 on memorabilia and shirts and stuff?
No, not quite over 1,000.
Okay, but up there in that between a nickel and a G.
Yeah, but it's between the regular store the second time around and then hitting the outlet store just off campus. Yes.
So you guys are gussied up on Notre Dame gear.
That's right, at least for a year.
Okay. So where did you guys stay at?
So we stayed about 12 miles outside in Elkhart.
Okay.
So it wasn't too far out. So it was nice. It was a place a little more reasonable than the stuff in town. Being week one, which is always big on campus, so all the alumni, everybody comes back, as well as being Michigan, which is one of probably their second biggest rivalry of the season behind USC. So being both teams ranked, it was a pricey week. They had everything jacked up. So we stayed just a bit outside of town, hotel, the pool, all that stuff for the kids. So
how did it work out? How many stars do you give that trip on a 5-star?
Out of 5, I'd say almost 4.
Really,
that's huge. Pretty well.
That's huge. That's a 4 is a 5 when you got 4 kids in tow. I mean, that's amazing.
I mean, the weather was good, and with no expectation of having to go in and sit down at the game and do what the adult part of it, to sit and watch. We were just able to enjoy all the other stuff. There was no schedule. We got there a whole day early. So we just, bummed around the campus, caught the bagpipe playing. We caught the trumpets. We did, we did all the cool stuff that there is in South Bend there on the campus. And they had kids activities. They had game day. They had, they call it Fan Fest. So they had it over on the track, the big turf field. They have all sorts of kids activities and, little combines and football type events for them to do and giveaways. And the campus has really grown. Like most campuses, they've got little, we call them lifestyle centers on campus, so stores and restaurants and stuff right off campus and bars. So we were able to see a lot, and it was a good time. We will go back a couple times later in the season. Not all of us, but smaller family group, and catch a couple games. But this time, just to be on campus, let the kids experience, get them passionate about, the Irish. It was a worthwhile trip.
Just working on that brainwashing your kids. I respect that. I respect that. So, I think we both agree the one takeaway that we have from this is Jim Harbaugh is looking down the barrel of this being his last year at Michigan.
Yes, he has done nothing yet to earn that big salary, and if he truly is as much about accountability that he preaches he is with his team and his players, man, he needs to stop cashing those paychecks until he wins a big game.
He did that. He did that as a player. He did that as a Chicago Bear quarterback, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. They were on a losing streak, and he wouldn't take his money until they won. So let me tell you what I think happened with Jim. Is he was a young coach, and he was on this path. If you look at the history of him and his brother, he was on this path to being a coach, to being a successful coach, and everything went according to plan. He had it all set up that he was going to achieve X, and then he achieved those things. And in doing so, he became a bit of a maverick. He didn't become a bit of a maverick. He became a maverick. And since he's become that maverick, he spent more time living the gimmick than getting back to what got him successful in the first place. We've watched this time and time again. It will be incredible for me to see what happens in Oakland or Las Vegas with Gruden. Because that's the same kind of situation where a guy with all the knowledge and all the know-how and all the charisma in the world is going to try to recreate success. But this time as a character in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Sin, so let me ask you this. So are you going to Chael's fight?
Yes.
All right. So now you're a huge wrestling fan. One of the greatest workers of all time, one of the greatest villains of all time, is a guy named Ernie Ladd. Ernie the Big Cat.
Big Cat.
Yep, Ernie the Big Cat
yeah.
Ladd. And he used to say two things. He used to say, "Come here and get under the learning tree." Okay? And he would also introduce himself as, "I'm 6'10", I'm 320 pounds, and I cover the ground I walk on," which is just a really cool line. I threw it out to Chael yesterday. I said, "I don't think anybody's going to find this. We should use it." I called Brew Chance. Brew was like, "Hey, I think that means," I didn't know what it means. I just thought it sounded really cool. And he said, "Well, you know what it means is he's bigger than it. He's so big and so bad. He's bigger than his own shadow and anything in its way." And I was like, "Oh God, I like that. That's beautiful." So what I want to do is I want to pull some people in and get them under this learning tree. They need you fighters out there. You fighters out there, come with me. Come with me right now and let's get under this learning tree. If you are a professional fighter and you have a fight coming up and you go to practice, you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. If you don't have a specific agenda, if you pay somebody a penny to be one single penny to be your coach, and you don't have a specific plan and a specific structure, you are getting robbed. If you go to practice and you are a professional fighter and you have a fight coming up, and the mats are not separated, everybody stops, and you're going to go in and you're going to get either 3 rounds or you're going to get 5 rounds in. One of the other. You got a 5-round fight coming up, you're going to go in and get 5 rounds. Just going to be you and your partners. The partners are probably going to rotate. You're going to have a corner man. He's going to be your coach. When you're done, the other guy that has a fight coming up is going to get the same thing. This is called structure, young man. If the gym that you belong to is charging you to be a coach and you do not have a specific plan, you are getting robbed, and your coach doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Now, there's nothing wrong with being a businessman. There's nothing wrong with trying to run a gym. But if you are stealing from your athletes, which is the only thing they have, you're a fucking thief. Okay? You're a thief. And you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Okay? You guys think this sport is some high-level sport where we need nutritionists and mittmen and jiu-jitsu guys and hand guys and Muay Thai guys. You need training partners and you need a coach and you need a plan. If you don't have those things, you are going to fail. If you are paying somebody and you don't have those things, you are getting robbed. So let's back it down one more time. If you've got a fight coming up and you go to practice and your practice isn't completely separate and different from everybody else's, and you are a professional fighter, you are getting robbed. You are a dum-dum. It doesn't matter if you're paying $1 or $20,000. You are getting robbed. And you feeders that are feeding off these fighters when they're in their shine, that aren't going to have a second to do with them when they're out of shine, you're scumbags. And you know what you can do. If you don't like it, you can come see me.
And know where to find you.
That's right, brother. That's right. I had to get that off my chest. I'm going to go to the sales meeting. I'm going to act like a employee. I think, I got a company shirt in the car. Perfect. All right, Sin, you got anything you want to get off your chest?
I do, but we'll save it for another time. Doesn't really tie in, so we'll save it for next week.
All right, cool. I never know what we're going to talk about, so that will be fun. All right, brother, give the family a big hug from the Godfather. You'll be coming up on the trip out to New York shortly, or Brooklyn. Where's that fight at?
It's actually in Long Island, Nassau Coliseum.
Long Island. Now, our boy Brew Chance is going to be out there. Now, you're going as a single adult male, correct?
No, I've got.
Or not single, but you're going solo.
No, I've got 2 tickets, but finding sitters for the 4 Monkeys has become problematic because we are in Vegas in 2 weeks for the State Farm National Convention. So I'm out there for 5 days, and I'm using up all my favors to get the 4 Monkeys watched for 5 days. So I don't have anything left in the till for 2 weeks later. So I am going for sure. But what I end up with the other ticket, I don't know.
So.
All right, I'm sure we'll be able. Maybe we'll get it to Vav. Oh boy, Vavaruski.
Yeah.
We'll get Vav on the horn. All right, bro. Let's talk. Let's communicate. Let's be a pioneer of this thing called communication this week and talk about next week's show. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to wish everybody a good week. I'm going to tell you scumbag fucking coaches, if you don't know what you're doing, get out of the fucking business. Just get. You make me sick. You disgust me. Okay? You're thieves. I like when I go off and people are like, wow, the Godfather got twisted. All right, that's all I got. Peace.
Peace.